Later, he was a Talmud in yeshiva. He was a good Talmud. He studied Chassidus, he studied Poskim. He was a man who was knowledgeable. In fact, when he moved to Jerusalem, he felt comfortable among the Gedolei Hador and would engage them in conversation. When he was older, couldn't stay in the yeshiva was moving back and forth. There was a lot of, the communists were closing places, the boys were running, and he had to take care of things. And for certain reasons of health, he had to go from place to place. And the Rebbeim decided that he would be fit to be used as an agent, as a shliach, to do things and to settle things, because he was very, very shrewd and very capable. So it happened in Rostov. He was already about 27, 28 years old, and the Red Russians and the White Russians were fighting with each other, and everywhere in Russia, whoever was in charge was demanding that people sign up for the army. The only people who were free from the army were students in the university. So the Lubavitcher boys decided they were also in university. And so they got these cards that said that they were members, students in Yevsitet, in Jewish Institute. Yev is Jewish, Stet, Institute. It means yeshiva. And so that was what the boys carried around, and most of the time it worked. The Rebbe told him in Rostov, he told him, you're going to see Laizer, you're going to see signs. Don't you dare look at the signs. The signs have got nothing to do with you. So Laizer said, okay, they have nothing to do with me. What were the signs? The signs were that if you're of a certain age, you better come under pain of death. You better come and sign up for the military. So Laizer avoided looking at those signs because the previous Rebbe, Rebbe Rayatz, told him, don't you dare look at the signs. But as he was walking, he had to do something for the yeshiva, buy something, take care of something, he noticed that there were a couple hundred people looking at this huge, huge sign. So he couldn't help himself. He looked also where they were looking, and there was a big, huge letters, warnings about those who will not come to sign themselves up for the army. A short while later, an army MP passes by and he says, give me your papers. He shows him the papers that he is in Yevsitet, and the guy says, this is not in order, come with me. He protested, he's a member of a Jewish institute, nothing doing, there's no such thing as a Jewish institute, it's all a bluff, you're going to the army. He pulls him into a place, and it was pandemonium. There were thousands of young men there. Nobody wanted to join the army. People were being killed like flies. The Russians, the Red Russians, were fighting the White Russians were fighting the Red Russians, brother against brother. Nobody wanted to be involved in that war. It was a war between English-supported royalists against the communists, but unless you were an avid communist or somebody that was associated with the royal family, you didn't want to fight at all, you didn't want to have anything to do with it. So they bring Laizer in, and he sees pandemonium, thousands of people, and there's one guy reviewing all the cases, and everybody's showing up and they're yelling. He's only listening to one person at a time, and people are demanding it. Literally hundreds, maybe thousands of people are lining up, but people are around this guy who is dealing with the p'tur, with those who are free from the draft. Finally, after 5-6 hours, Laizer goes over to this guy who's dealing with all of the people who are claiming that they are free from military service. He shows him his paper, Yav Setet. He looks. Says, okay, Charasho, it's good, get lost. He comes back to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and the Rebbe told him, Laizer, where were you? For 6 hours I couldn't rest, worried about you. Why did you look at that sign? I told you not to look at that sign. That a Rebbe knows is something that I have learned to accept. Heard stories, saw myself the knowledge of a Rebbe and what's doing in your life. But that's one thing that the Rebbe knows. It's another that the Rebbe shows that he knows. And the Rebbe showed Reb Laizer many, many times over that whatever is going on in his life, the Rebbe thinks about him and knows exactly what's going on in his life and watched over him like a father did children. Schusa Yogan Aleinu will continue with the stories of Reb Laizer, Reb Mendel, Reb Simcha Gorodetsky, Reb Shlomo Chaim, and all those who I was zeicher to hear stories from. A good night of Shabbos.